What if I told you that you could say pretty much everything you need to say, but with only 850 words? Sounds kind of crazy, right? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive into a radical idea called basic English that claims to do just that.
But seriously, take a second and think about that. How many words do you really need to get your point across? A few thousand? 10,000? The whole dictionary? What's the magic number? Well, according to one incredible system, the answer is just 850. That's it. And this isn't just a random number, it's the entire foundation of a language system called Basic English.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll look at the big idea behind that 850 word list. Then, to really get how it works, we're going to zoom way in on just one word, dark. We'll see how it can describe things, how it can name things, and ultimately, why this kind of simplicity is actually incredibly powerful.
So, what even is basic English? Now, it's not just a simple vocabulary list for someone starting out. No. It's a complete redesigned version of the English language, engineered from the ground up with just 850 words to be a super clear and universal way for people to communicate.
The whole philosophy here is about maximum utility. Every single word on this list was handpicked because it's an absolute workhorse. It has to be versatile enough to handle a huge range of ideas that you'd run into in normal everyday life.
And to see this in action, let's put one of these 850 words under the microscope. We're going to keep the simple, common word dark, and we're going to completely pick it apart.
And yep, as our source confirms, the word dark is officially a member of this very exclusive club. And as one of only 850, it's got to do a lot of heavy lifting to earn its spot.
Now, here's what's so fascinating about this word. Its flexibility. It's kind of like a linguistic shapeshifter. It can act as an adjective, a describing word, but then it can totally flip its function and become a noun, a naming word.
Let's start with its first job, describing the world around us. How does the word dark actually work when it's an adjective? Okay, first up is the meaning you're probably thinking of, the literal one. Something is dark when there's no light. It's a simple physical description, right? Like saying, the cave is very dark. Easy enough. But this is where its power really starts to show. Dark can also describe something that's scary or sad, like calling World War II a dark time in world history. All of a sudden, the word isn't about light at all. It's about emotion, about an experience. Just think about that for a second. With this one little word, we've managed to capture both a physical reality, the absence of light, and a really complex emotional one, a time of hardship. That's some incredible efficiency packed into one word. Okay, so let's shift gears to its second role. What happens when dark stops describing things and starts naming them as a noun? Well, as a noun, it can mean three totally distinct things. It can be a place that has no light, it can be the time of day after the sun goes down, and, get this, it can also be about your laundry. Yeah, really.
All right, to get this next part, we need a super quick dip into grammar, specifically the difference between countable and uncountable nouns. Don't worry, it's simple. Uncountable nouns are things you can't really count, like water or air. Countable nouns are things you can count, like books or chairs.
And here's where it all comes together. When dark is talking about a place, like being afraid of the dark, or a time of day, like be home before dark, it's uncountable. You can't have two darks, right? But when you're talking about laundry, it suddenly becomes countable. You can separate your darks from your lights. The word can even be plural. It's the exact same word, but it's playing by a different set of rules depending on the context. Okay, let's zoom back out from the grammar weeds and look at the big picture again. After taking apart this one little word, what's the big takeaway here? Why is a simple system like this so incredibly powerful? Well, look at what we just did. We took one single word, dark, and we followed its journey. We saw it act as an adjective with two different meanings, and then as a noun with three different meanings. That is 5 distinct ideas, all packed into one simple 4-letter word.
And that, right there, is the secret sauce of basic English. Its power isn't about having a massive dictionary. It's about having incredibly versatile words. Every single word in that 850 list is like a Swiss Army knife, a multi-purpose tool that can do a bunch of different jobs.
I mean, just look at the difference in scale here. Standard English has something like 170,000 words in current use. Basic English has 850. That is a mind-blowing reduction, and it only works because of the sheer power packed into each and every one of those hand-picked words.
So,
The most important thing to take away from all this is that you don't necessarily need a giant vocabulary to talk about complex things. By really mastering a small set of core words and understanding all the different ways they can be used, just like we did with dark, it's actually possible to express some surprisingly deep and nuanced ideas.
And that leaves us with one last, kind of provocative thought to chew on. It's a system that's built for ultimate clarity and simplicity. But is that enough? Could a vocabulary of just 850 words ever really be enough to express everything that truly matters?